Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Monday Mailbox. I know I'm late, I am moving soon, so I've been really busy, and I just didn't have time to do this on Sunday, so I apologize. But if this is the first time you've seen this series, the way it works is that I give you guys the option to send in your questions, either Battlefield related or gaming related, and then I will give my opinion on those questions. If you would like to submit your own, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. So the first question for today comes in from Adam, who asks, would a free-for-all game mode work in Battlefield 4? Think of a TDM-sized maps and infantry-only or vehicle-only action. I think 64-man is a bit much, but still would love to try it out. So I'm sure a lot of people would love to have free-for-all in Battlefield 4. It's popular in other first-person shooters like the Call of Duty franchise, and I'm sure people would play it in the upcoming title. But I don't know if DICE would be going down that route, and that's due in part for a couple of reasons. The first reason being is that they kind of pride themselves or even promote their Battlefield games as being team-oriented. They have the whole class system going on, rock, paper, scissors, and if you had free-for-all, it would just throw that out completely out the window, and that entire dynamic and that entire thing, which basically makes Battlefield, wouldn't be a part of that game mode. The second reason being is that I think there would be a fair amount of outcry from the hardcore community because they would clearly be trying to bring in the Call of Duty franchise. And I know that's not really a bad thing by any means. They want to sell this to a larger audience so that they make more money, and to have a game mode that a lot of people like would be one way to do that. And I don't know if the outcry itself would be a deterrent, but I know that people would be upset. I mean, I know people were upset with Team Deathmatch. That was never in Battlefield before Battlefield 3, and people were kind of peeved that they were like, they're just trying to make this Call of Duty, what's up, DICE? Why are you doing this? And if they went even further with that and had a free-for-all game mode, I'm sure even more people would be upset. So just kind of the combination of, this doesn't really suit Battlefield in the sense that Battlefield is more team-oriented and not suited around just the whole free-for-all aspect, and that a lot of people would be upset. I'm not really sure they're going to go down that route, but you never know. So the next question for today comes in from someone I'm going to call Matt, who asks, I notice many people complain about new players getting into vehicles and dying immediately without helping the team at all. So why don't DICE implement a training mode in the single player where people are alone with no pressure in a map like Wake Island, where they can practice accomplishing certain maneuvers or killing enemies on the ground? So this is a great idea, and I've always kind of wanted this in Battlefield 3. I believe there was a kind of a single player mode in Battlefield 2 where you were playing on maps that were in the multiplayer, but there were AI just kind of running around all over the place. And if you were new to the game and you wanted some practice, you could just jump into one of the single player modes and try to learn how to fly a jet, or you could try to learn how to use all the weapons. And then once you felt comfortable with that, you could move on into the multiplayer and test it on real people. And I would love to have that in Battlefield 4. It would be a great way for people to test out their skills. It'd be a great way for newer players to get accustomed, and it would reduce a lot of the frustrations that people have right now where they want to get better in a vehicle, but then they just get yelled at by everyone who is saying that they suck, they should stop playing the game because they don't know how to fly a helicopter. It's like, well, I never knew how to fly a helicopter when the game first came out, and if I jumped into a game 6 months after it was released and everyone was yelling at me, I would probably be pretty upset and frustrated by it too, and I would get a little deterred for even playing the game later. And I probably wouldn't buy a future Battlefield title, that could deter me from buying a future Battlefield title, which would really suck. So I think this is a great idea. I would love to have it in Battlefield 4. I think it would solve a lot of these problems, and I hope DICE does it. So the final question for today comes in from the Indian Beast, who asks, hey Matimio, do you think Battlefield 4 will be bug-free? No, I mean, there has never been a first-person shooter, there has never been a video game that has ever been bug-free, at least to my knowledge. I mean, maybe, Pong was bug-free, but every other game that has come out recently has always had some sort of bugs, and that's just kind of part of the territory. Games have become so complex, there is just so much code to account for that you just cannot fix everything. And even when you do fix a bug, it will pop up another one. I mean, it's kind of a vicious cycle when you think about it, just simply because these games are so complex and there's so much going on. That being said, though, I really am hoping that Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 is a lot more polished than 3. I mean, when the game came out, there were a lot of bugs. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the beta. The beta was really bad, but it was kind of bad when this game came out, and I kind of expected it because they were working on a new engine. You know, we got Frostbite 2, and things were going to be a little rough around the edges, but I'm really hoping that for Battlefield 4, they've had a lot more time to get accustomed to their new engine. They can tweak some things, they're a lot more practiced with it, and it won't be as large of an issue. But I'm still expecting bugs for Battlefield 4, and I'm hoping that they're not game-breaking by any means, but you just kind of have to expect it in today's world and for video games in general. So those are all the questions I'm going to be answering for today. Once again, I apologize that this didn't come out on Sunday. I hope you guys can forgive me. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.